Hey, I'm Lauren Dawes. This is Purposeful Play Assignment. This is impromptu number 3, and I'm working with 3 new topics, and I'm about to give a speech. Alright, first topic. Laughter is the best medicine. Second, intelligence is not enough. And the third, ill health begins in the mind. Out of these, I'm definitely going with intelligence is not enough. I think I can really come up with something good and clear. All right. So with intelligence is not enough, the first thing I think of is college applications because you need more than the smarts. So I'm definitely going to write that down. The second thing I think of, probably good speaking skills. Because if you're just smart, that's not going to get you anywhere. So, and the last one, I think I see this in my own life. So I think I'm going to say compassion and empathy. So, all right. Alright, here we go. Here's my speech. So, many people think that to be the most well-rounded person or the best person, you need to be the smartest. And that's not always the case. Having intelligence is important, but if you were just smart, that wouldn't really get you anywhere in life. So I think it's very essential to have multiple traits, multiple skills, as well as intelligence to build your personality, build your character, and build you as a person so that you can be the best that you can possibly be. The first thing I think of with intelligence is college applications. Have you noticed that when you're doing a college application, they ask you way much more than your GPA? Because your GPA is important, it's very important, but that's not all who you are. Your GPA doesn't define you, and you need more than your GPA to explain why you deserve to be going to college at this university. So, for example, when I was filling out my application for Georgia Tech, they asked so many different categories of what defined me, such as volunteer and extracurricular and clubs and stuff like that. If you think about it, that's why they force you to do, not force, but that's why it's very essential for you to do stuff like extracurricular, sports, and whatnot in high school because you're going to need it all for your applications. So it's like volunteer work. Do you really think I want to be at a dog park all weekend picking up dog poop? No, I don't do it because I want to. I do it because I know that being in all these volunteer clubs and extracurriculars will look good on my college application. And it's very important to notice that with volunteer work, it shows that I'm willing to sacrifice my own time to benefit my community. And that's a trait that people will see as beneficial. It just adds on to who I am and why it's important for me, for my resume, as you may say, for my college application. And another important skill is sports teams. Not everyone is athletic, but it shows hardcore commitment. If you're in a sports team or club like that for all of high school, because it takes time and dedication, and that's what colleges want to see. They want to see that you're committed and that you're not flaky and that you're really committed to what you're doing. So for example, I remember when I was talking to a college advisor that they said that they didn't want me to be in a club for senior year only because it didn't really show commitment. It just showed that I was doing it for my college application. So it was very important to put clubs that I was in for multiple years, and that's why I joined clubs for 2 to 3, 4 years because it showed commitment and it showed dedication. Within these clubs, it's also important to note that leadership is very, very, very important because yeah, it's cool that you're in a club, but who cares if you're in beta club? Because beta club at my school was 200 people, and I really wasn't doing much. But that's what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, it's cool that I'm in beta club and it shows that I'm really committed, but it's not really important unless I'm a leader. So yes, intelligence is important, but leadership, commitment, and dedication to your community are other important assets that you need. Another thing that has to do with intelligent not being the it factor is being personable. So it's good to be smart, but can you imagine like being super smart and not being able to share that to other people? I know in high school I had a lot of teachers that were really, really smart, and they had like PhDs. They like went to school for 10 years. They knew what was up, but they couldn't replicate this to anybody. I remember one of my AP biology teachers, she was really smart, but she couldn't relate to us at all. Like, it was really hard to understand her because she was really shy, and it was really hard to figure out what was like certain concepts were because she couldn't relate them to our lives. On the other hand, my AP psychology teacher was really good at doing this, and that's what made the class super easy. I remember learning something called taste aversion, and at first I was like, taste aversion? What is that? That sounds so foreign. And I remember her giving an example that really made it clear. She said that it's when you eat something and then you throw up and then you don't eat it because of you're scared it'll happen again. And it made me think of when I was like 7 or 8 years old and I ate spaghetti. I threw up and I didn't eat it for like 10 to 12 years because I was like, ew, spaghetti, like that's disgusting. If I eat that, I'm gonna throw up. It was this psychological term that seemed really hard in the beginning, but when she like simplified it and got it down to my level, it made so much more sense. So yeah, it's good to be intelligent, but if you're not able to share your intelligence by having good speaking skills, you're not going to be able to really help people in the long run. Another example is like job applications and working in the workforce. Yeah, you can be really smart, but you have to be able to talk to people and you have to be able to share your intelligence with others. If you went to a job interview and you weren't able to tell people what assets you brought to the company or what you could do to make this company better in the future, there's a really good chance you're not going to get the job because you're not going to, like, it's just not going to help you. It's not going to show what is great about you. Employers want to see that you have good social skills because, honestly, most jobs do involve talking with others and figuring out what the company can do as a beneficial thing. Like I'm saying, like, it really is important to be able to speak with other people because you have to be able to share your ideas. Even if you're working in a cubicle all day, you still have to talk to somebody to get the job. And if you're very silent and you're like a hermit and you can't talk to people, it's not going to help you. Being smart is not it. You have to be able to share it. You have to be able to relate to other people. And that's a reason why intelligence solely is not enough. And finally, another reason that can explain why intelligence is not enough is compassion and empathy. You need to be compassionate and empathetic towards others in order for them to really understand or respect what you're saying. I remember when I was in 8th grade, I got selected for this award called Breakfast of Champions. And what it was a program where a teacher selected a student that they thought was really strong and respectable in the classroom environment. And I remember getting the letter that explained why this teacher chose me. And it wasn't because I was smart, because he wrote in there, he's like, Lauren has 100 average in the class, but so does everybody else. And it's not because I was smart, I was selected. It was because he wrote the many examples of things I did in the class. He said she would help pass out papers when I needed help. She lended a pencil to somebody right before the test. She would go over the notes and explain certain concepts to people right before class started. It wasn't because of her grades that she was selected for this. It was because of the compassion and empathy she showed towards other people. And I remember this quote that he put in the letter, and it was by Maya Angelou. It said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way you made them feel." And because I made people feel a certain way, he thought it was necessary to choose me as Breakfast of Champions. And this also relates back to him. That's why I remember him so well, is because of the way he made people feel. He made them feel really good and really loved, and it was just a really good environment to be in because he was really easy to respect. And another example is my high school English teacher. She was very compassionate and empathetic towards me and towards everybody. She didn't pick favorites. She was very open, and she would talk to anybody, literally anybody. It didn't matter what they looked like. It didn't care what they said. It didn't care about their reputation. She would open her door to everybody so that she could go in and talk to them. That's why she was one of the most beloved, is because she was easy to talk to, easy to relate to. And I remember going in there many times confused or conflicted with certain problems, and she wouldn't hesitate to help me with with an answer. And she was intelligent. She's one of the most intelligent people I know. But it wasn't her intelligence that what made her an approachable person. Because I'll be honest, she wasn't the smartest person in the school. There was people who had paid PhDs, but I didn't go to them because they weren't compassionate and they weren't empathetic towards what I believed and what I thought. They weren't serious, and they didn't care about my feelings. They wanted me to have the best answer. They wouldn't take everything I took into consideration. So it's very important to be intelligent, but it's also really important to be with people who are compassionate and empathetic. Because if you're not compassionate and empathetic, people aren't going to listen to you. Because if you're just rude and harsh and very straightforward, it's going to be really hard to relate. And if you're really comfortable around somebody and you respect them, it'll be much easier to learn from them. And it'll be much easier to share your intelligence with others if you're compassionate and empathetic towards them and their beliefs. Finally, I think all these traits combined add to what make people intelligent. Intelligence is important and you definitely need it, but it's not what makes a person. You need all of these traits. You need all of these things, such as humility and kindness and compassion. You need all of it. If you don't have it and you just have intelligence, you're not going to get far in life. So I think it's very important to take all these things into consideration and try to build up on these things as well as intelligence.